Hey, welcome back to Kitchen All Over the World, the show where I cook things that I've never tasted before. On today's episode, I'm going to try to make Lomo Pinchado from Nicaragua. Join me. So, Lomo Pinchado basically translates as stabbed loins. So I've got some pork loin right here. You can use beef as well if you want. So we're going to start with the marinade. So for that we need 1 tablespoon of sugar, a tablespoon of achiote, also called annatto, a little bit of oregano, probably about a teaspoon or so, a little bit of black pepper, freshly ground is preferable as usual, some salt, however much you want. I'm going to put a good pinch, 2 tablespoons of regular vegetable oil, 1.5 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, known in Spanish-speaking countries as salsa inglesa, which is a lot easier to say than Worcestershire. 2 tablespoons of cooking wine, or just wine in general, because there's no such thing as cooking wine. Don't use that stuff that you find in the stores. It's got like vinegar and sugar added. In this case, I'm using just a Beaujolais, but you can use any red wine that's kind of fruity. One and a half tablespoons of mustard. The recipe didn't specify, so I'm just using some spicy brown mustard. A few cloves of garlic. I'm going to smash those with my knife to let all the juices out. No need to really take off the paper or anything. And I've got 2 oranges we're going to juice. Oh, those are very red, but they are oranges. Strange, never seen these before. I'm going to go ahead and mix that together with a fork. Get it all nice and incorporated. And now comes the pinchado part of Lomo Pinchado. I'm going to take a knife and start stabbing this just to get the marinade much deeper into the tenderloin, because it's a pretty thick cut of meat. So if you just stuck it in the marinade as is, only the outer surface would get penetrated. We are going to marinate it overnight, so that will help further, but we really want to just make sure all these sides have little windows, little openings, and it's fun. So stab away. I'm gonna roll this guy around in here, put in the meat, and then go ahead and pour that in. I'm going to go ahead and throw that in the fridge overnight. So for the ubiquitous rice and beans, we're going to be making Gallo Pinto, means spotted hen basically. So we're going to use some small red beans, and I want about a cup of these. Make sure that you pull out any discolored sort of gross looking ones. And we're going to soak these in the fridge overnight. All right, onto the lomo. I've got my big cast iron pot here. Going to turn it on to high, because the first step we're going to do is sear the heck out of it. Throw a little knob of butter, as well as some vegetable oil. And here's my tenderloin. Gonna stick it down. Hear it sizzling away. Let's go ahead and rotate it. Make sure you hit every side. All right, now I've got some onions that I sliced into semicircles, as well as a whole red pepper. Now I'm going to go ahead and lower the heat down to medium-low. I've got my reserved marinade that I'm going to pour in there. Along with a couple cups of water, I just poured it in the same bowl, so that's why it looks weird. It's not coming from my pipes like that. Give it a quick little stir. That already smells really good, but it's not done yet. I'm gonna go ahead and cover it up and let this guy go for about 45 minutes. So the beans have been soaking all night. I'm just gonna drain out the liquid, throw them in a medium-sized pot, because there's only that much of them. I'll throw in a handful of crushed garlic cloves. And I'm going to cover that with about 1.5 inches, 2 inches of water. Let's turn that on to medium-high and bring it to a boil. All right, now that we're boiling away, let's lower it down to medium-low or so. And we're going to cover it up and let it simmer for a full hour until the beans are just starting to get soft. All right, so the beans have been going for an hour. At this point, we're going to add a pinch of salt, some black pepper, and some oregano. Let's give that a quick little stir to incorporate. And let's let it go for another 10 minutes. All right, now that the beans are ready, we're gonna go ahead and scoop them out. Go ahead and pour that cooking liquid into another bowl, because we're gonna use that when we cook the rice and beans together. All right, so while the meat is going in the background, I'm gonna turn on a pan to medium, and we're gonna get started on the rice and beans. Once that is hot to the hand, let's add a little bit of vegetable oil. And once it runs freely like that, we'll add some chopped up green peppers, and surprise, there's some diced up onions as well. And before we add anything else, we're just gonna let these guys soften up a little bit. All right, those are looking good, so I'm gonna add in my beans. Stir a little bit to incorporate. And remember, we saved that juice from the beans, so I'm going to throw a little bit in now, and if we need any more, we'll just keep adding. All right, now that those are up to temperature, I have some day-old rice, some long grain that I cooked yesterday, so I'm going to add that right on top. Now you want to use slightly old rice, not fresh rice, because it'll be way too fluffy and wet. The good thing about day-old rice is it's kind of dry, so it's going to suck up whatever juice the beans gave off. Now let's mix that all in. And you're going to start to see the rice taking on that color of those beans. At this point it's looking kind of light, so I'm going to add a little bit more of that bean juice. And don't worry if it gets too wet, it'll cook off as we proceed. Alright, this looks and smells great, so I'm going to dig right in. Apologize for my voice if it sounds weird. I'm just getting over the flu. My uvula, little dangly thing back at the back of my throat, is swollen. Weird, but I can still taste things. So let's taste away. Some peppers and some of our sweet pork. I mean, it was marinated so long, so it picked up so many of those flavors. And using the marinade to braise the pork really makes those flavors come out a whole lot more. It's got, I mean, you could just name the list of ingredients and that's everything you're tasting here. I've got the red wine, I've got the Worcestershire sauce, I've got the little bit of citrus coming through as well, which, oh my God, all that together. It sounds a little strange, but it just creates this real round sort of flavor with some little punch from the alcohol from the wine, the citrus from the oranges. And it goes real well with pork too. Usually when you're doing a pork roast or pork chops, a lot of times they'll pair it with some sweet flavors, some rich flavors like apples and raisins, that sort of thing. And that's what you're getting out of that balance of the red wine and the citrus from the oranges. So it really works well. And onto the Gallo Pinto. I mean, it's very beany. Because of that bean juice, the rice picks up all that flavor. So if you like beans, definitely a cleaner taste than a lot of Latin American rice and beans that I've tasted before. Possibly because it's white rice, there's no butter added. Overall, this is a delicious dish. You know, if you throw together that marinade, you saw it took like 5 minutes, and then marinate overnight. It's a good quick, 45 minutes in the Dutch oven. And actually I could have gone for a little less time because this is a little bit overdone, you can tell. But overall, I would recommend this dish to anyone who wants something to be sitting in their fridge, they can come home to, throw on the burner, and have a great meal after work. Cheers.